Hello everyone and welcome to level 1-1, and for many of you this is probably the starting point where you're working towards mastering any and all rhythms you may encounter in whichever ensemble you may be in. This whole rhythm assessment system is geared towards providing you with the knowledge and practice opportunities that will make you more confident in reading music, and ultimately improve your contribution to the ensemble as a whole. So from here, you'll progress from one rhythm concept to the next, eventually making your way to advanced rhythms, and by the time you get to level 4, you'll have a strong understanding of some very advanced rhythms, which you will undoubtedly encounter in music that you're performing. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Here we are in level 1, and level 1 is going to introduce and review a lot of concepts and rhythm ideas that you're going to be encountering almost every day in the music that you're trying to perform. So whether or not you're looking at the first rhythm sheet, level 1-1, and you're saying to yourself, oh my god, what is this? How do I even start doing this? Well, then obviously this is a good place for you. Or maybe you kind of understand how to perform the rhythms on that sheet, but you're not entirely sure why you know how to do it or understand the rhythms completely. This is also a good place for you to be, because we're just going to solidify your understanding to a point where you're feeling really confident about it, not only on that sheet, but in these types of rhythms that you'll see in actual music. So yeah, without further ado, let's talk about eighth rests. That's the concept talked about today. So here we go. Alright, so just to show you the comparison on how eighth rests relate to other rests we've seen, here's a little rhythm chart, in this case with rests. So on the very top you see a half rest, that top hat looking thing we've seen before. And then a half rest equals 2 quarter rests, and each of those quarter rests also equal 2 eighth rests. So there you go, you can kind of see the comparison there. You can also think that 4 eighth rests equal 1 half rests, just to make that connection as well. Okay, so if we're going to talk about eighth rests, let's start with eighth notes, shall we? Here you have 2 measures in 4/4 time of just nothing but eighth notes. And what would the counting be for this? Well, it'd simply be this. Alright, so let's say we want to change these 2 eighth notes into 2 eighth rests. Well, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so what would this first measure sound like now with eighth rest? Well, here we go. 2, ready, and go. 1 and 2 and 4 and. Now obviously I said sh where I should have been silent because rests are silent, so let me do that without me shushing like that. Ready and go. 1 and 2 and 4 and. Or on ta, ta 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 ta. Now if you notice, those 2 eighth rests are together. And if we look back at our rhythm chart here, 2 eighth rests equal 1 quarter rest. So instead of writing 2 eighth rests, we can simply just put a quarter rest there. So let's do that. Now I'm not going to perform that again because it'll sound the same. We're just simply writing the rest in a different way. Lastly, before we move on, we have to change the counting that we have written above that rest since it's silent. You normally don't show the counting for silences, so let's get rid of that. Or some people also like to show the counting that would be there in parentheses, and the parentheses would imply that you're resting. Okay, let's move on to the second measure. What would happen if we turn these 2 eighth notes and these 2 eighth notes into eighth rests? Well, that would look like this. Next, let's change the counting. Okay, and what would this sound like? 2, ready, go. 1 and 3 and Again, without me shushing. 1 and 3 and, or on ta, ta ta, ta ta. And again, you can change those 2 eighth rests into a 1 quarter rest if you'd like. Alright, so here's another example. What if we wanted to just turn this eighth note right here, just that one, into an eighth rest? Well, let's go ahead and do that. Now the problem here is that this remaining eighth note now looks like a quarter note, and we can't have that. It doesn't fit rhythmically. So when an eighth note is all by itself like that, you actually give it a little bit of a flag, kind of like that. Alright, so what does this top rhythm sound like? Here we go. 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Without the sh is 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Or on ta, ta 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 ta. Now here's a question for you. What makes this rhythm different than this rhythm? I mean, the counting's the same, right? But how would you perform this one differently? I want you to think about that for a little bit. So the answer is that although they both start on beat 3, this one has a little bit of silence involved between beat 3 and beat 4. You're being silent there, so there's a little bit of a break. Whereas here, this is a full quarter note that takes up the entire beat 3. So there is no break between 3 and 4. It's ta, 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 right? So here's the top rhythm. Here I go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and bottom. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Right, so it's very, very important that you understand the difference between this and this. Not just in understanding it, but also when you show me, when you perform the rhythm worksheets, that you perform this with a little bit of silence afterwards, and then when you see this, that you connect the quarter note to the next thing, because there's no silence there. Okay, that's very important to show. Okay, so here's the last thing we're going to do today. I give you a 2-measure example using eighth rests and quarter rests. What I want you to do first is I want you to think about the counting. How would you count this rhythm? What would you write above it? So just maybe pause the video and think about that. Alright, so here's the counting. To help yourself perform this more accurately, you might want to just show the counting that you're resting for in parentheses like this. Okay, and now what I want you to do is I want you to try and perform this rhythm on your own first. You're going to see me do the whole red dot thing, okay? So that's going to keep following where the beats are. But it's up to you to say either the counting or the rhythm on top. So here's your turn. Ready? 2, here you go. Okay, and you can either say that out loud if you want, or you feel weird doing that. There's people around looking at you very strangely. You can just do that in your head or just say it quietly. Let's do it together this time. Here we go. 2, ready, go. 2N, 1N, 4N. Or on ta, ready, go. Ta, 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 ta. Alright, here's one last rhythm. Again, think about the counting. Maybe pause the video now. And here's the counting. Here's the counting with the beats of rest shown. And here we go. Let's try and do this rhythm together right off the bat. 2, ready, go. 1, 3, 4, and 2, 3. Again on ta. Here we go. Ta, 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 ta. Ta ta. And there you have it, folks. That's the end of the lesson for today. Hopefully by now you feel pretty confident in being able to transfer this knowledge to the rhythms you'll see on the worksheet. Please, if there's any questions, if you're still not sure about something you see on that worksheet, please do not hesitate to find me, ask me, and we can certainly work it out for a few minutes, or longer if need be. So yeah, good luck with that first worksheet, and we'll see you next time.